Mark Skaar on 103.7 The Fox. Proud to welcome in Lou Kouvaris and Rick Ventura from Riot Act. Guys, welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah. Big fan from way back, so it's a treat to talk to both of you. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having us. Our pleasure.
Yeah. So let's talk about the formation of the Reformation, as it were, with Riot Act. I know you guys have done some shows as guests for Riot 5. I'm thinking maybe that sparked this. Is that accurate?
That is correct. That is correct.
Okay.
It was in the making, but that sparked us to really actually do it.
So tell me about those experiences, because I think you went overseas to do some of those shows, if I'm not mistaken.
Went to Japan. Well, what happened was, I think, we had, in March of 2015, Rick and I were invited to play a Riot 5 gig as guests at a place in Brooklyn called the Bell House.
Right. That was the first.
And Rick and I have never played together. We've let alone see each other we kind of like passed in the night, but we never really, we never had a chance to really play together. But this was a chance that we were hanging out backstage. He was going to do a song, and I was going to do a song at different times, of course. And that's how it started. That was in, I believe it was the beginning of 2015. And then what happened, there was a little action going on. It was kind of a nice treat for us. I got a call to do Japan in September of 2015, and we did a small little tour in Japan. And then, Rick, I think after that, I think you were in...
Yeah, was it 2016? I was invited to perform the entire Fire Down Under album. At a big festival in Japan, and that
Loud Park.
Loud Park, exactly. Yeah, Loud Park, which is a big deal, Right. So we did the whole Fire Down Under album, and basically, I don't know. I think when Lou and I started to play those songs again, it was just like sort of the audience reaction, and just what it felt like to play those songs again. It was just woke something up,
Yeah.
It's like woke a sleeping giant.
That's right. and basically what happened was when we were doing the little meet and greets, afterwards, they were very gracious. They had us sit in, for the meet and greets, and we were signing autographs, and I couldn't believe how many people had all the Riot albums from the Guy era, the Rock City, Narita, Fire Down Under, and they all had them in their hands, and I was like, God, I must have signed a boatload.
Yeah, we were blown away.
How the fans kind of remembered us as, the musicians in the early stuff.
That's a fantastic story. I'm sure, yeah, I would have felt the same way for sure. Those first 5 albums for me are Riot. So I love that era, and I know I'm not the only one. So I'm thrilled that this is happening. So how did Riot Act then come to be?
Let's answer that.
Yeah. Well, I think what happened was Rick and I, we were going back and forth a little bit. I was kind of calling Rick, and he was doing stuff and whatever. And we got a call to do. We were getting inducted. Riot was getting inducted into the Hall of Heavy Metal History in 2018, and that was just before the NAMM show. And we got invited. I got invited by the guy who actually put up the Hall of Heavy Metal History, and Rick got invited by Donnie, I believe. So I was pretty thrilled myself. So when we got up there, we saw how kind of cool it was just to get inducted with all these, these other great artists. Like, I think there was Billy Sheehan, the bass player from Metallica. Not Metallica. God, I forgot who it was.
Well, Bill Ward from Sabbath was inducted. Carmine and
Apathy, right?
Who else?
And I think the guy from
but most importantly,
Megadeth.
Most importantly, Riot.
Right, that's right. So we all got our little Emmys, so to speak, and we were honored with that, and it was just really a great feeling. So Rick and I kind of sat in breakfast one day and we said, hey, dude, maybe we should do it. And Rick goes, yeah, maybe it's about time.
Things, because the response was, I guess we looked at, the performances that we had done with Riot 5 and the reaction, the audience reaction, and most importantly, the fun we had doing it.
Oh yeah.
It was. I mean, that's what it's all about. It was fun, and then after that induction, we looked at each other and said, hey, yeah, I guess it is about time we should get something together. And I was playing with Paul and Claudio, bassist and drummer from this new band, and it just sort of happened, We all got together at my place. We started playing.
No singer, by the way.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Started playing the songs, and it sounded really, really good, So then it was time to find a singer, and you could take it from there.
Yeah. Well, what happened? We did audition a couple of people, and great singers. I mean, all guys who have some pretty good credits, and the way Don came about was I had a friend of mine who was in a Journey tribute band. It's called Bon Journey, and they play all over the country. They're a really, really good band.
Okay.
They, of course, Bon Journey, it kind of tells you they play Bon Jovi songs and Journey songs. Mm-hmm. And I reached out to him and I say, hey, dude, I said, is it possible that you maybe know of a singer? And he goes, yeah. So he threw up 3 names at me. And I wrote them down, and, he told me this guy was good, and then this guy, Don, he's in 3 or 4 different bands. And I said, crap. I said, you think maybe he'll want to do something? And he goes, well, you can always ask him. So I put it on the shelf. And we auditioned another couple of guys. In the meantime, we weren't satisfied yet. Not that they weren't good, he just wasn't satisfied. We didn't think it was a good fit at this point. So I gave this guy a shout again. I said, let me get that number. So I called my friend up. I said, let me have that number. He goes, yeah, sure, no problem. I called him, and, man, we talked for about an hour. Mm. I mean, we gelled, and I told him what we're doing and what we're all about, and then we got some gigs in Greece and blah, blah, blah. And he was, like, super, super excited. And, he really didn't know much about us, which was kind of crazy. But but he was very, very excited while I was talking to him. So we did audition him. And we knew after the first chord, right, Rick? It was after the first chord. It was like,
yeah, it was after an A chord, I think, right? Yeah, we did 3 of the old Riot tunes, and it just sounded fantastic. We actually said to each other, "Wow, we could actually be on stage performing right now." That's how good it sounded.
Yeah.
His voice was just the right voice. Because it had the spirit of Guy
the
and the spirit of the band. It was the first time. It was like Lou and I said to each other, "Wow, he's really putting the songs across." Because Guy had such a unique style, and that's what made Riot, because no one sounded like him.
Right.
And you can never find somebody, and you never will find somebody exactly like him. But Don was the closest to bringing those songs to life, and it was just a good gel of musicians, and that's where we are right now.
Yeah.
Talking with Lou Kouvaris and Rick Ventura from Riot Act. Yeah, when I first heard Swords and Tequila 2019, when he opened his voice, I just thought, boy, that's a dead ringer.
Yeah.
Everybody's been saying that, so that's cool to hear that. Thank you.
You want to hear something really, really crazy, Mark?
Sure.
I never expected to get a little message, but I got a private message from Gina Speranza, Guy's wife. Mm-hmm. And she told me, and this is quote, that he actually sounds like Guy. I approve. And I was blown away when I got that message.
That's the best endorsement you can get right there.
Thank you. I said, thank you, Gina. And she really liked the video, too. I mean, she liked the band. She liked the video. So we're very, very thankful that she did, because that's really a nice thumb up for us.
For sure. Because I want to go back just for a second, of course, for the uninitiated. I'm trying to think. I suppose Fire Down Under is when I jumped in 1981. But, of course, the history goes back to the mid-'70s. And for those that don't know, because Lou and Rick did not play together, because Rick replaced Lou in Riot. And that's goes all the way back, I guess, to the late 70s. Right, guys?
Yeah, 1978. August of 1978 was my last hurrah there, and Rick kind of slid right in there. He slid right into home plate.
Now, just to clarify, too, obviously you had a lot to do with Rock City, but you also had some uncredited writing on Narita, right, Lou?
Correct. I wrote 4 songs on that, 49er being my main song. I kind of wrote basically most of that, including the opening riff. Let's see what else. I can escape you right now. Help me, Rick. 49er. I don't remember. I'm old now, so I don't know. Let's see. I think. Jesus. I don't know. Who knows? You know what? I'll remember it in a couple of minutes when we keep on talking.
Right.
There were 4 songs on that album, and I wish I knew. You can edit this anyway.
Well, the preliminary,
sure can.
The beginning of that record, I mean, it was in the works.
Right. In other words, it was basically three-quarters complete.
Yeah, okay. It was in the works.
I actually started the album. I mean, I went and I recorded 49er, and then that's when right at that moment I got replaced. But most of the songs, three-quarters of the songs were already done.
Well, let's see. Road Racing was on that. Here We Go Again. Waiting for the Taking.
What else is on there?
Narita.
Oh.
Kick Down the Wall.
Yep, Kick Down. Hot for Love.
Yep.
White Rock.
White Rock.
Give It Up.
Yep, I think we named almost all of them.
Yes.
Pretty much. So Born to Be Wild.
Yeah. Yes, right. The cover. Yep.
They escape me right now, but there's four songs, but definitely White Rock, Kick Down the Walls, 49er. And Here We Go Again, I think it is.
Right.
Here We Come Again.
Here We Come Again. That's it. There's the 4 of them.
Wait for yeah.
I need to tell you a quick story. Some friends of mine from this little town I grew up in when we were teenagers. We're probably all about the same age, but they used to play in the garage. I just have very fond memories of them covering Here We Go Again and Road Racing. That was really...
Wow.
We were listening to Riot in the early 80s. A lot.
Happens in the garage.
See that?
Yeah, so, I mean, your tentacles go far beyond probably your wildest dreams because you were talking about being overseas and all these people bringing the old albums to you, and that's so cool.
Yeah, it really was a thrill for us. I mean, just the fact that so many years later and people remember you, I mean, that's such a cool feeling. I mean, that
sort of wakes you up, when I did a few shows I did, we did some in Texas, and they're all there with their albums. I was literally blown away.
Well, Mark, we do have a show in Texas coming up. We can't tell you when it is.
Ooh, it would be so fun to go down there.
We'll let you know soon. It's in the works right now.
Was there any thought to bringing people like Pete or Jimmy or Sandy or Kip in this?
That's a good question.
Yeah, it's a tough question, too. Yeah. You know what? I think the only reason this happened is that this group happens to be all in the same vicinity. We just happen to be...
Yeah, our geographic...
Yeah, we I was playing together with Paul and Claudio, and Lou, we're all like in the same area, and it's just like, it just fell into place, and, everyone else is scattered all over the country, and I don't think it ever would have happened, because we did talk about it in the past, it'd be nice to, play with Jimmy, but something, it's been talked about for years, and nothing ever happened, so, and then within a matter of weeks, there was a band, so, there was talk about it, but it never would have materialized due to logistics, and we were just lucky that the 5 of us, you got 5 guys that just gel together perfectly, living practically almost in the same, neighborhoods practically.
Mark, the really incredible thing is there are great players that can get together and play, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can put 5 unbelievable players who just like you put them in the room and they'll play, and it sounds great. But then you can put 5 people in a room together, they can play, but there's chemistry.
Right.
So that's what we're dealing with here. We didn't really know how this was going to be, but as soon as Don opened his mouth and sang that first line, it was just all over.
Yeah.
And we knew it. So the chemistry is really the glue here.
Yeah, it's a really good vibe. You know, everybody's enthusiastic. It's just a good vibe. You know, and when we play, it comes out. You know, you can sense that. So.
Can we talk about Guy for a second? I never got to see you guys live back in the day, or since for that matter. But you both knew
why we're doing this.
Yeah, you both knew him obviously incredibly well. I know that. I also want to bring up the fact that I know that a band like Montrose was kind of your blueprint coming in. Mark loved, and you all loved. Yeah, Montrose. But talk about Guy and what he meant, and then obviously Rick, you were around when he all of a sudden left, and that must have been a shock.
Oh yeah. Guy, I mean, you were curious about Guy's influence, or just Mark?
Just maybe kind of how he was as a person, and how he influenced the music, and
yeah. Well, Guy came from more of like a straight ahead rock and roll. I know he was into bands like Foghat, and he was into just rock and boogieing stuff.
He loved Rush. He turned me on to Rush.
Yeah, that's surprising. He was a pretty mellow guy.
Yeah,
he was very kind of mellow, and he was a really nice person. He was a really good person, and we had great times on the road together. But everybody knows about the issues we had with management and record companies and all that. We're just a band that was plagued with bad luck. Towards the end, I think Guy just couldn't take it anymore. He didn't want to do it. It wasn't happening. All these years, it was just out of frustration. We reach a certain level, and it never got beyond that. And things held us back, and he just had it. And it was frustrating because we were touring with Rush at the time, playing big arenas. But it was a management issue. We wanted to break away from our management. There was a few of us in the band wanted to break away, and he just had it. He just couldn't do it anymore, unfortunately.
Well, I had a chance to go down and see Gina, his wife, back in 2011. But going back to being in the band with Guy, he was a really a really sweet man, and he was very, very soft-spoken, and he had this incredible aura around him of friendly. And kind of like, hey, we're going to get this done. He didn't get to the point of stressed out, and he always wanted to make things work out. I think Rick will agree with me on that. He always wanted to make things work out for everybody. So he was a team player, and we used to get along very, very well. I mean, the whole band. And, we're like friends. Plus, we were younger then. It was like the camaraderie was amazing.
Yeah, we're all the neighborhood guys, essentially. Mark lived around the corner from me, and Guy lived maybe like a quarter mile away. So we were all from the same area, and that's what made the band. It was like just a special bond.
Yeah, and also I got a chance when I did go down to see Gina back in 2011. I spoke to Jimmy, and Jimmy was playing in a rock band. In somewhere in Florida, and he asked me to come up and play, and I played a couple of songs. I said, wouldn't it be great to get the band back together, or play together again? And he goes, Louis, he goes, LA, if you're in it, he goes, count me in. He goes, I'll do it. So I had, at that point, and this is no secret, I had called up Peter. Peter was into it, and I called up Rick, and Rick was kind of like busy doing other things, so it never got off the ground at that point. But I don't know if you know this, but Jimmy is Gina's brother.
Right, that's right.
So, it's kind of a neat little family. But, again, Jimmy kind of like disappeared a little bit, but a great bass player. Great bass player.
And I love Pete's work on those two records, too.
Yeah, I mean...
he was unique.
Yeah, everybody, did their thing, and that's what made the band the band, you know? It was this combination of people, the way everyone played, and that's what makes a band, and that's what makes the sound of a band, you know?
Chemistry again?
Yeah, and unique playing styles, you know?
I interviewed Mark after Irishmore came out, and he dropped a bombshell on me. It must have been the late 90s.
Oh, yeah? What?
That guy actually came back, and they worked on some stuff 98, 99, 97, and I don't know what happened, but it fell apart again, and I've got that interview somewhere, and I was just like, wow.
And I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember Mark actually told me that. And I heard it. Yeah, he told me years later. And but I don't know what happened to that. Yeah, that was kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought so too. So
I spoke to Mark about a year before he passed away. We actually connected again, and some lengthy, interesting conversations.
I'm sure. And I'd be remiss too, especially to Rick, because you worked with Rhett Forrester. I loved Rhett Forrester. I love both eras equally, and he seems like he must have been a character.
Oh yeah. I mean, the band changed because he's such a different personality from Guy. You know, he had this swagger, this southern swagger about him. Just his image and his presence and his accent, and he definitely was a character. He was sort of like a larger-than-life character. Very sweet guy, though. You know. Very nice person. We had some great times together, and two different personalities, the Guy and Rhett. And we, I thought the stuff we did with Rhett was great too. You know, it was just a different sound.
Yeah, for sure. It's just such a shame we lost all those guys so early.
Unbelievable. It's scary. It's almost like a curse. It's kind of scary. Maybe that's why I was reluctant to get together with Lou.
The curse. Hey, listen. In a way, my demise in the band. When I got let go from the band, I looked at it as they did me a favor. Later on, not at the time, but later on, because I saw how much, agony some of these people were going through, with the record company, who was the same people as the publishing company, who were the same people as the studio, who were the same people as the, management. They were all the same people. Yeah. So, just everything that they went through to get paid and stuff like that, you hear those horror stories all the time.
Sure. But yeah,
I was like, hey, they did me a favor. That's kind of how I looked at it later on.
But we got 5 great albums out of it and a lot of great music, and I thank you guys for that, because you were all a part of it, and you deserve to get praise and kudos for that.
Thank you so much, Mark.
Thanks.
We really appreciate that. Humbly, we appreciate it because, we didn't know anybody gave a shit, until, recently.
So Riot Act, I know we're speaking to you from a studio. Obviously, Swords and Tequila's been put down. I just love how raw it is. It's just perfect.
Yeah, it's really raw, actually.
We did it that way on purpose, Mark. It was meant to be that way because we wanted to keep the essence of what was being played back in the day, to recapture it again. And with that player, Rick and I still play the same way. Okay, we're older, but we play the same way. We're not going to go out and start learning how to play Yngwie Malmsteen. You know what I'm saying? We're going to play the way we know how to do best, and that's rock and blues.
Yeah, I think it's great. So, I know there's been talk about. Obviously talk about gigs. You brought that up earlier, but you're also writing, right?
Oh yeah. That's the next step. Is doing originals, and the Swords and Tequila video is done to show this is the band, and this is our new singer, and this is the lineup, and just get ready for what's going to follow. So it's going to be a continuation of what we did in Riot.
Well, if any of your listeners want to see anything that's going on, we do have a website. It's riotactband.com. Riotactband.com, and they can go there. They can see, look at some of the stuff that's on there. Our bios are there, and they can see what gigs we're playing and so forth and so on. And of course, just go on YouTube and see Swords and Tequila, Riot Act Band.
Yeah, so it's going to be 2020 is going to be pretty exciting.
So today, for instance, the day in the life of Riot Act. So today, what did you do in the studio?
I guess we had hamburgers. We talked a lot, and then we realized we had to record something.
Yeah.
So we're putting together. What are we doing? Like a EP, I guess.
We're doing a CD, a sampler CD, and which will probably turn into something, but we'll see.
Okay.
About all we can
Recording
say.
a bunch of songs.
I would imagine you both have a stockpile of riffs ready to go.
Oh yeah,
We got a few.
Yeah, they're coming out of our ears.
That's wonderful. No writer's block here.
I will tell you this. I think people will be. I think they'll like it. I think they'll like it. If they like the old stuff and those 5 albums, they'll like the stuff.
I haven't been this excited about something in a long time, and I'm just thrilled by this news, and I'm thrilled to follow your progress, and I wish all 5 of you the best of luck, and I can't wait to see where this goes.
Well, thank you so much. We'll keep you in the loop as far as our gig in
definitely
your area. It's actually it'll be coming.
Cool.
And we'll let you know what's going on with that.
Yeah, we appreciate all the fans that dig the band and hopefully come to see us, and thank you for being a true fan.
Thank you, Mark. That's you're like music to our ears.
Yeah, we love hearing that. It inspires us.
Well, good. Well, I'll do whatever I can to boost the egos.
and we'll buy you a beer, man. We'll buy you a beer and maybe a good old send us to a good old fashioned hamburger place out by you or something.
Oh, that'd be wonderful. I love to eat. For Lou Kouvaris and Rick Ventura from Riot Act, I'm Mark Skaar on 103.7 The Fox.